Hey guys, welcome to C is for Cars. Today, I got to do a little bit of rust repair on the Z7 floor before I can really finish the cage and getting the cage tacked in. So that's today. We're going to look at that. Cheap, hopefully. Well, it should be cheap. Budget, easy, fingers crossed. Rust floor repair. The right way-ish. So right where the firewall meets the floor, both sides, its body seams come together, and then, or the two body panels come together, firewall, body, and there's a seam, that's where it's rested on both sides. I'm gonna pull this wheel off, get you a little closer, and we'll kind of find more rust and get a game plan about how we're gonna tackle this. I think it seems like it's easier to get to it from the bottom, so let's just do that. I'll knock this wheel off. I'm gonna make it a little taller, actually. We'll have a look. All right, guys, so as you can see, this is the rust spot. The seam for the firewall, this upper piece right here, it's actually pretty solid. It's the floor pan, the tub itself, kind of right there. That is the problem. And it goes a little up on top of this. But, you know, let's do this easy. Let's think about this. I cut this just as much as I need. And kind of maybe cut off, I think it's just spot welded right here, a little bit on the inside, and just lay a little tiny piece in here. I mean, it shouldn't be that hard, and it doesn't even matter if it looks that great, because no one's going to see it. But we want to cut it out, we want to weld something in there, because that's proper. Now there's a little bit of rot over here on the sides. That's not great, but it's also still pretty solid. I'll end up spraying some of my rust converter on there. It's also kind of beyond my ability, and especially beyond this project. I mean, it's going to be a race car is the plan. So this right here, I mean, it's still solid. Yeah, it's got some yucky stuff, but it's not a hole, right? This fuel line, this is what this line is right here, is fuel line. I'm gonna have to get that out of the way. And then we'll get to maybe marking out a hole and maybe start cutting it. All right, so I just zip tied this fuel line over here. Probably not gonna use it, but I'm not gonna get rid of it quite yet. So obviously we're gonna be cutting up here. This is no good, right under that seam. But after that, this Sharpie sucks. It's actually a Staples Duramark. Now I don't want to take more than I have to. Now there's kind of like another seam here, so we can probably just go right to that. Something really easy with as little bend as possible, nice and flat. There is a bit of a tub drop or whatever you want to call it here, but it's nice and flat here. I'm gonna zip that off. All right, so drill the hole. And by drill the hole, I mean cut a hole. A little bigger than I originally thought, but that's all right. I think what I'm gonna do is lower the car. Get a piece of cardboard, lay it on the top, trace the bottom out, and then find a little donor piece to fit right in there. All right, guys, there's a hole from the inside. Not the prettiest, but again, does it have to be? I don't know. I'm gonna put this piece of cardboard, probably like that, and then something heavy like the cage plate. And maybe I'll just put the bar on it too. That way when I'm pushing on it from the bottom, it'll stay in place. Will it work? I don't know. We'll lift the car back up and see how it looks. So that cardboard actually sits in there really nice. I can push on it and that's gonna make marks. Now again, my cut is not perfect at all. But That's fine. I'm not a pro. I think the important thing is that I'm doing it. I'm trying. We're going to want to go right to the edge though, so that when we cut on the outside of this cardboard on the donor piece of metal, it should be, or it should go right up in there. Looks okay. My outline, I think, is going to be pretty good. Okay, well, I got my patch, and it's not perfect. Neat thing about the patch, it's actually a trunk lid off, I think, a 62 to 65 Fairlane. 62 to 64, I guess. 65 is an off year. So, it's me. Is it great? No. Am I a pro? No. But again, I think it's important that I'm, trying it. I think we get intimidated by a lot of this stuff. You see it on all these different channels. Guys are pros and they're doing it, and you try and it sucks. Well, you got to start sucking before you can start really doing it good. So patch is made, and of course my welder's in the trunk. So I'm gonna lower the car, take out the welder. I'm actually gonna practice a little bit on some spare stuff I have, just making sure I'm not going to super blow holes and gob it up and make it look ugly. It's going to be ugly no matter what, but ugly, not as ugly with a little practice, hopefully. Just some metal in there, get it, somewhat solid, right? Once it's somewhat solid, a little bit of stitch welding, and then cover it up with some heavy primer rust paint stuff. Never look at it again. And well, that's the plan. So let's do that. All right. Is it the worst? No. Is it the best? Also no. Is there a big hole? No. Nice. All right, here's a view from the inside. Solid. I'm just spraying it with this rust stuff. There's some surface rust in here. This is what I was waiting to come in the mail. And we're just gonna spray that over everything we done. Everything that looks kind of like rust. Shoot, good enough. This side's done. That side's gonna get same treatment, just a little bit better. Well, shoot, I don't know. It's not perfect, but it's also better than it was. There's no gaping hole there now. And not that it's gonna make that much difference there, but might as well fix it. And yeah, it's not perfect. So I'll do the other side, and it should be better because I probably learned a little bit here. And that's kind of the whole point. Learn as we go, start somewhere that obviously doesn't matter as much, and eventually we're just going to be done. Next, like I said, I got to do that passenger side. Once that's done, I can finish the gauge. Then it's subframe connectors, then it's rear end, suspension, and then it's front end and suspension, which is a little more expensive, tubular K-member, and then engine, and then I'm still poor, but that's how it goes. Thanks, guys, for watching another episode of CS for Cars. We'll see you next Tuesday. And I don't know where I put my beer. Here's my beer. We'll see you next Tuesday.